Hey, how's it going, guys? So here we are back again for some more mini lessons created by AI to study mathematical models defined in research for HVAC systems optimal start. Once again, these models live on the building automation system or in IoT, and we feed in zone temperature information, zone set point, a schedule for the building automation system for when the HVAC system starts, and these models predict minutes to condition the zone, to warm them up or cool down. We've talked about this a lot. It's an energy saving strategy, very robust, powerful one, and it's still one that's very poorly implemented. People might think that they're doing it properly, but more than likely they're not. And even within all the years of research, it's not anything that's really quantified about how to do it. So like this is the paper for the PNNL, Pacific Northwest National Labs. Highly recommend reading the paper. So this is a group of researchers, PhD engineers that have researched a couple different ways, resistance, capacitance type of models. So we've been studying these in Python. Model 1 is quadratic regression. Model 2 was a linear degree per minute model with a weather correcting, a ratio defined with some weather data. Model 3 is a multiple regression where we did some of the matrix algebra by hand. And Model 4, which we're still studying right now, is a simple first order response model. So read the paper. It's a really good one. By Pacific National Labs, Srinivas's group. And here we are. So we're up on day 32, Model 4. So let's knock this one out real quick. All right, so as the zone temperature approaches the set point, the driving force that for heat transfer diminishes. The coil may modulate or cycle off to prevent overshooting. This leads to a coast to stop. Model 4, the logarithmic formula accounts for this slowing, predicting longer times as you near the end of the warm-up or cool down. That's why when you look on the graphs, it has like kind of a curved shape to it. It's not a perfect linear type of slope. So here we go, some more mini lessons in Python. I just realized I don't have my VS Code open up, so one second here. Get to our math lesson. Some of the earlier videos we went through with how to set up Python and just some real basic vanilla Python environment. Okay, so our lesson for today, maybe we can just comment this stuff out. See how this code looks when we run it. Okay, so what do we got here? So we have like a range loop, so this will iterate through this 10 times, and it looks like they're doing some kind of that's our zone set point, and then they're adding some kind of error multiplied by like a decay ratio. So they're they're trying to plot basically how this curve would look like, I guess. We did play around with matplotlib. Maybe this would be interesting to show. I just can't remember what the imports. Matplotlib pyplot as plt. So I'm just cheating here and Googling the how to import this. This is just a plotting library for Python. And we can play around with probably plotting the data. So we could just say plot data. That can just be a generic list. And then let's try and make a plot. So if we did plot data dot append t, I think. Yeah, t was that value right there. And then I think we have to do plot data. No, I can't remember what we do. There's a way to plot plt.show. Oh yeah, so you do plt.plot. Okay. So we do plt.plot and then pass in our plot data. And then I think we just do plt.show. Alright, so where did our little plot went? Yeah, so whatever. So it's just showing this curved, it's a curve. In the real world, real data, it would probably be a little bit more of Jurassic looking curve. But it would be kind of interesting just to see what this looks like. If we modify our smoothing rate, that made it very linear looking. So if we made our decay smoothing parameter, see what that looks like. Yeah, so this looks, I think you get the idea. It's just like a little bit in the real world, you'd get this first order, kind of curve there. And then this equation, this model with a log math attempts to solve for that. All right, where are we then? So we can get out of there. What would happen if the coil delivered constant power until set point? I think you would still get the same, curve. Even if the coil delivered a constant amount of heat or removed the constant amount of heat, let's say the valve was just wide open and you get the same amount of power from the coil, you would still get a nice curve. That's just the characteristics of the first order physical systems, or whatever you want to call it, thermodynamics. Describe 2 physical reasons why heating slows near set point. So, 2 physical reasons. That was a really good question, how to describe that. And then this is, we use deadband. This is, this model uses the deadband. So like we've been talking about, if your deadband is really short, you'll overshoot it. And if your deadband is a little bit larger, then you're less likely to overshoot. Now this I'm kind of just thinking of, like, why does time take longer as you reach like the set point? I'm just going to ask that one to AI. Let's see, so we're give it some context here. On the question, I just want to see what AI says. I think any of the mechanical engineering students would find this very obvious. Yeah, it's basically is when there's a delta temperature, that's when heat flows faster, the best. That's why in chillers and like heat exchangers, if you don't have a delta temperature, you're not going to get any heat transfer. So it's a product of heat transfer theory. This is the basic thermodynamics. The connection is why it shows in mathematically in log format. So it's kind of cool. Okay, so I think that's all we have for this video. It's kind of short. Almost tempting to maybe plow through two. So comparing log versus quadratic, yeah, this is a good one because both of those have that same curved format. Model 1 and Model 4 address nonlinear warm-up but differ mathematically. Quadratic model grows with the delta temperature squared, and that's the zone temperature and the zone set point, while the logarithmic model slows dramatically near set point. Compare the predictions of both models on the same data set and see how they align. Well, this is cool. Alright, so let's try and run this. Maybe I'll just see if keep our plotting, see if there's anything fun to plot in that. Maybe just for now, I'll put this like that, and go like that. Okay, so here's our delta temperatures right here, 2 degrees, 5 degrees, 8 degrees. That's the difference in the, it could be heating or cooling, doesn't matter. So it's the temperature above or below the zone set point when the HVAC system is off. And there's a delta then that happens because we're not conditioning the zone anymore. So the quadratic model is predicting 7 minutes, log model is predicting 6, quadratic model is predicting 28, and log model is 10. So yeah, kind of interesting. So the quadratic model was model 1, which is some of the very first YouTube videos we made. So let's look at this a little bit. So this is the deltas. And then this was model 1 alpha parameters, I think. Yeah, so this is the quadratic formula right here. So the first couple of YouTube videos we did of model 1, they had an alpha A and an alpha B parameter that we solved for when we solved the regression. These get updated every run through a regression process, and then we solve for the math formula. And then the log model 4 is using the dead band divided by the delta divided by the decay rate. This was alpha C and what we've been studying before. So yeah, kind of interesting. I don't think there's anything interesting to plot because these are just like the raw equations predicting the minutes. But like in the paper, maybe I'll just show you guys where this is in the paper when you read it. Also read the paper in its entirety because they state where some of these models perform better in some places than other places. So like when we were looking at model 1, the quadratic regression model, it's hard to see. So this is alpha A parameter. It's just a tuning parameter. I can't remember it. These have units to them too. So the delta temperature, there's set point, and the zone temp, this is just in units of degrees. And then this might be, oh yeah, it says right here. Yeah, this is in minutes. So this is like a unit that will add on some more minutes, I guess. So that's that equation, which is here when you see it in Python format. And then model 4 is this equation. Alpha A, alpha B divided by alpha C with log math. So that's our equations, which we're getting right out of from the researchers. And yeah, read this paper in its entirety. There's a lot going on, and they do talk about, which we'll get into later, is there's still an issue that these latest research, they cannot solve the Monday morning issue. That's when control systems need a little bit extra longer to run if the building sits unoccupied over the course of an entire weekend. And they also ultimately state that Model 3 is the best, which is in here somewhere too. But you have to read the paper. I recommend it. I should reread this. So yeah, there's like, they talk about the predictions. Model 1 performed worse than Model 2 when so there's certain areas where some of these models perform better than other. Model 3 showed slightly better accuracy when compared to 1, 2, and 4. And I am running these models in the Niagara building automation system in Java, which I've showed you before. And I appear to have the best results of Model 2 still. But I can show you that later. There's not enough data. Okay, so where were we on this now? I don't think there's anything interesting to plot here. But let's see what are... For your building, measure warm-up times at multiple delta values and compare which model fits better. I don't have a building with... I guess this is the only thing we have right now. So maybe someday we can look at a real building and then see how these are getting tuned over time. And then Model 4, the decay rate would get tuned over time. So that's why these optimal start algorithms are considered adaptive, because we're constantly tuning our variables. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't have a good for your building. Why might Model 4 underpredict for large delta T? I have to think about that. So Model 4, I don't know. Can you combine aspects of both models into a hybrid? Ooh. That looks kind of cool. I just want to see what... So like, when we get into some of these days, this is all about hybrid models. So we're kind of getting into this. This is what I'm excited to play around with artificial intelligence, and just pretend we can be a little bit researchy. So let me see, what about these questions? The delta T. Model 4 log first order assumes the building's warm-up behaves smoothly like an exponential decay of air. You get constant percentage improvement per time step that often works well near set point, but large delta T, it can underpredict because reality adds extra non-ideal effects to simple decay models. I guess that sounds kind of interesting. Capacity limits. A big delta T equipment is often already at maximum output, wide open valve, burner stage up, compressor on. The model may assume the same decay behavior apply, but the building can't constantly deliver proportional improvement when it's saturated. So early part of the warm-up is slower than ideal curve. I'm thinking maybe, well, it's interesting because I think like the decay rate gets tuned over time, so it seems like kind of a funny, I'd have to watch it and just look at the results. Can you combine the aspects of both of these models? Yes, that's great. Direction day 33 is pushing quadratic growth versus log and decay. So piecewise model, small delta t uses log, large delta t uses quadratic. Let's say got a easy pi example for that. I kind of liked how we had this was kind of a nice easy code base. Let's just see what it says. Yep, here's a very easy some pi code. I want the tiny hybrid model. Okay, here's our little hybrid model. This is interesting. So it plotted, so this should be big zone temp, degrees Fahrenheit. Seems kind of cool. Nice curve to it. So basically they're I don't understand what they're doing here, but they're did this use a hybrid model approach? Doesn't look like it to me. Oh, okay. I guess anyways. I think they're just assuming some constant rate of power for a coil in terms of like BTU hour or kW, that, and as soon as our delta is not very close, then it switches to some that looks like a smoothing, exponential moving average type of code right there. So it's just like it switches basically. Kinda, I don't think it's really doing like what our paper says, but it's using one way of model here, then as it gets here it's using some other linear, and then it switches to decay as it gets up here. So I don't know, I think you get the point. So that's it for today, guys. So thank you for joining me. Tomorrow we will try and plow through this stuff as fast as possible, still on Model 4. So maybe we've done this quite a bit, but it looks like it's more coding of Model 4. So 15 more days to go. Thank you and have a great day.